at shidina shikis James Fogeth in Ishia to Higlini Nishne, Touchini, Bushichin, but that think that should change. Beshbich that should look at Chicago, Arizona, Dana Shah. I am James Fogeth. I was raised out here on the Navajo Reservation. I am Water Flows Together clan, born for Touchini, which is Red Running into Water clan. That's my father's clan. And I grew up on the reservation, 2 hours north of the Native American Baha'i Institute. And let's see. Yeah, I was born and raised here, and I grew up around the Native American Baha'i Institute. So Johannes, my roommate, asks me to just be myself and say whatever, answer his questions on camera for his documentary personality profile, whatever this is. Well, I'm a volunteer at the Native American Baha'i Institute, and what I do is, in the capacity I serve, is that I was an animator of junior youth. Right now, my main focus is raising up of the junior youth animators and the training of the animators themselves. And so that's the capacity I serve. So I'm just going to start with the connection between the Baha'i faith and the Navajo culture. It's a very long, elaborate, beautiful story to tell. And I will just tell you what's happened to me. Since I was a very, very young child, Yaj, that's Navajo for child, my grandmother and my whole family was, since I can remember, and our family history goes back, is that we've always been of service to the people who are in our area, our friends, not just our friends and family, but to everyone. Being of service in my family and our Navajo culture was, in our traditional ways, how we lived it, was that's the highest station you can attain, is being of service to people. And in the Baha'i faith, that is the highest station you can achieve in this world, is the station of service to humanity. And so that's already, there's that parallel. And from a long time ago, my grandma always said, how she found the faith and what she taught me and how to investigate. She says, you'll know people by their actions, you see. It was the deeds, the people actually doing, the Baha'is, people a part of this social and economic development process, this spiritualizing of society. That's what attracted them. And it was this sincerity in their words and their actions that my family saw. And I see it as well, and that's something I've been raised with. And just being of service was of such compliment. So maybe to explain a little bit more about Navajo culture, Navajo philosophy. What's interesting is in the Navajo language, there isn't a word for religion. There really isn't. And there isn't, because there shouldn't have to be a word for religion. If you ask a Navajo elder a question, you'd be lucky if you got stuck with a 10-minute answer. They're gonna talk about how, like you'd say, what's the secret to being happy? They're not going to say, oh, have a good diet, and that's their answer. No, they're going to talk about how you need to eat well, how your interactions with people plays out, how your relationship with God, how you pray, how you're at harmony with yourself and everyone else, and how the kind of effect you have in your environment, and how the earth reflects in how you're friends with the trees and you respect everything. And there's the spirit, there's the physical, there's the knowledge, and there's everything, and it's holistic, it's a circle. Spiritual expression is living. Living the beauty way, being a Baha'i, is spiritual expression you do. It's a faith where you do, and it's accompanied by action. Conscious knowledge and belief and the practice of good deeds is faith, and it's not something that is limited to just Sundays or a certain day of the week or a certain time of day. It's who you are. And so that's what my Navajo culture really taught me, and that's something that I've learned even more as a Baha'i. The Baha'i faith isn't the conversion of faith, it's the completion of faith in this respect. And so there's no conversion, and there certainly is no assimilation at work here. The Baha'is faith is, if everyone's to come in one planet and one people, if everyone's to live as to one human family, then there has to be this complementary, these mingling of these cultures, and really, all spirituality really lends itself to this process of the community building that the Baha'is are engaged in. And it's not something that's dichotomized either, just like in my Navajo culture. And that's where the Native American Baha'i Institute, I think, comes into play. Because as Baha'is, we're taught to attach great importance to the indigenous peoples of America, because they'll come so illumined as to illumine the whole world. And so that's why there's this 40 acres here in Arizona on the Navajo Reservation, really dedicated to that process and to the fulfillment of that promise of the illumination of the native peoples. And so NABI, the Native American Baha'i Institute's purpose I've always seen is to raise those resources to empower these native indigenous peoples like myself, and to really, to really say that that you belong in this process, and everything that you are, all your culture and everything, really has a fundamental role in this world-changing betterment of the world. Well, the mere fact that spirituality is something that is always present in your life, and to be ever conscious of it is something that is noble and will reform the world. And that is something that Native Americans and the Navajos used to integrate so strongly into their lives, that spirituality. It was always and ever present. We were always conscious of it. And, I think that's kind of what a lot of things boil down to. Prayer isn't, for example, take prayer. Prayer for the Navajo people isn't something that's foreign or scary. You ask a Navajo to say a prayer, they'll say a prayer, and they'll be sincere about it, and they'll be reverent about it, And so, in other places, in all my travels, some people are afraid of it. Some people don't know how to pray, and it's that practice that they were so used to doing every morning at, before the sun even comes up, when the light on the horizon is just a tiny bit of a blue line, you can barely see it. Us Navajo people are out there praying towards the east, with our corn pollen, just obligatory. It's daily. It's a must. It's part of our lifestyle. And so integrating that spirituality into your life is something that I believe everyone can learn from, and that's something that the Baha'is and the Baha'i teachings and the Baha'u'llah's guidance also teaches about as well. Just this higher consciousness, like using prayer as an example again, it creates mindfulness, creates awakened spiritual susceptibilities, you see. And so that's something our Navajo people in the past have really thrived on. That's what made us a great society and a great culture. What can the volunteers here offer the Navajo people in this process of illuminating the Navajo peoples? The thing about that language is that, again, it's not tied to assimilation or giving up old for what's new. It reminds me of a quote in Book 5, says that what is needed today is a live and living faith, you see. And so to me, that is what the Baha'i faith is, you see, a live and living faith. And so it's, and that's what I think the world needs personally. So individuals who come out here, there's a great need anywhere you go, but on the reservation, things are a bit different. For example, out here when I was a child, when I was a junior youth, I really wanted to learn how to dance, how to act, how to draw, how to paint. I wanted to play a bunch of instruments, but there was nothing around here that offered any such service, nothing, and it was, everywhere I looked, there was hopelessness and despair. I mean, everyone I knew was either, sick with something, whether it be alcohol abuse or some other drug or just plain depression. And it was just I just saw despair as a child everywhere I went. I had no reason to stand up straight because there was nothing to be happy about out here. And so it wasn't until I started becoming involved in the certain social and economic development projects that the Baha'is were having for everyone, Baha'i or not, this is a process for everyone. And so it was there where I found hope. And I think that's, when other young people from other places come and who genuinely want to help others, that is to be of service to humanity, something like just sitting down with someone and listening to someone is an excellent service to do, especially for the young people. And if you have certain skills and talents, like if you know how to draw well, or if you're confident and know how to do drama or sing, you know what I mean? There's just this need, this thirst for it out here, and it's everywhere. Empowerment happens in all different kinds of mediums, whether it be artistic, language, literary, spiritual, mental, or recreational. It's needed everywhere in the world, and so that's what volunteers now are coming here to do. No longer just to clean toilets, but also that as well. Just the effect this process has had in my life is profound. It's the difference it's made in my life, the Baha'i faith, as well as the amazing people, Baha'i or not, that are in this process. The difference it's made in my life, I can just plainly say, is I wouldn't be alive now. I wouldn't be here now. I'd be dead, or worse, spiritually dead, at this point in my life, if if there wasn't that support, if there wasn't those other people out there to, you know, relay a positive message, to help accompany me, to walk with me in my struggles, and then to assist me when I really needed it, and that genuine sincerity that comes with serving selflessly. That's just something personal to me. And if you ever wonder, you know, that where do all our good actions go? And in book 1 it says, you know, holy words and pure and goodly deeds ascend unto the heaven of celestial glory. So everything good we do matters, you know, and that's empowering. That's an empowering thought. And so wherever you choose to help people, you know that it goes someplace good and it lasts forever. And that's the message that's for everyone. It's not for me, it's what I've learned. You know, here, you know, being with the junior youth, having conversations with them, being a true friend, trying to be a wise advisor, it's something I've learned. And if that's something that you feel like you want to do or to help people, service in other parts of the world is an excellent way to do that. And it's something I think everyone needs in their life. It'll be the best time in your life if you're sincere. It can also be the hardest. Probably the hardest, but if you look back on it a couple years later, you'd be like, wow, that was awesome. Yeah. That's all. Aloha, peace out, my fellow German